Hello and welcome to another edition of Forward TV, your regular guide to business in Hull. Now the city has a long and proud cultural tradition, and today we're going to look at some of Hull's cultural highlights and how they interact with the business community. Hull is renowned for its music, art and particularly poetry. In fact, it's been called the most poetic city in England. We're here at one of the launch events of Larkin 25, commemorating the life of poet Philip Larkin. In fact, we caught up with event organiser John Levy and asked him about the business implications of Larkin 25.
I think cultural events are now becoming well known for attracting people to places. And that's not just bringing them there to do shopping, it's bringing them to stay in hotels, to go to restaurants and bars, to pick up all sorts of things while they're in the city and to enjoy it and carry the message away with them. So I think there are all sorts of benefits that can be gleaned from these sorts of cultural events. At first look, something like Larkin 25 might seem a very highbrow arts event. But in fact, it's engaging a whole range of communities, and there are parts of the festival which are definitely aimed at the public and bringing visitors to the region. And that's one of their main drivers, is to bring visitors to the region to drive economic spend. And without that, these festivals are really no more than just a bit of a wish list of activities. And so people are focused on that, and we've certainly been working with the organisers to try and make Larkin as successful as possible across a broad range of people and to bring visitors to the city, to get them to come from far and wide and even overseas to sample what's going on.
But where do art and culture overlap with business? Well, two major events were staged in Hull in 2009 and both had a pronounced effect on the city. The Freedom Festival is an annual two-day spectacular featuring hundreds of high-profile acts on several stages throughout the city. It attracts around 150,000 people to the city centre and has a huge effect on the retail sector. Mike Kaloran, manager of the Princes Quay Shopping Centre, tells us about the effect it had on retail trade.
It was good because it spread the event out. By having it in the three venues, you know, Queen's Gardens, City Square and Humber Quays, it meant they were moving around all through. And it was superb for all the traders. They've got a distinct benefit. Some traders, you know, doubled and trebled their weeks. One trader told me he normally takes £2,000 on a Saturday, he took £10,000 on the Saturday. And the national coverage is brilliant because it's all about improving our image, it's all about selling our city to the outside world.
In 2009, the Freedom Festival ran at the same time as the launch of the Clipper Round the World Yacht Race. The race travels to many major ports around the world, including New York, Singapore and Rio, and they chose Hull as the start and end of the race. Here's John Levy again on the business impact of staging a major international race event in Hull.
I think large events, such as the events we saw with Clipper and the Freedom Festival, first of all, they put the city on the map, which is important for everyone. They also demonstrate that Hull is capable of holding a major event like this, which is tremendously important. It puts us in the league of the other big cities around the country. And for example, in such things as recruitment, the fact that the city is known, it's seen to be a place that's buzzing, there's activity going on, it's got a great lifestyle, all those things help to bring people to the city, and for a lot of companies that's very important. On the other hand, if you're doing business around the city, it also means that people think of Hull in a positive light. Oh, that was the place that did this or did that, held the Clippers. That's really important, and I found that as I travel around the country and actually the world, that people are getting to know Hull for these types of events and not for the old stereotypes. More people want to come to the city and hold their conferences here. We've seen a number following the whole Clipper and Freedom events. You know, people finding, wow, Hull, I didn't know it was like this. We're going to bring our event here. And there's a number of conferences already taking place over the last few months and more in the pipeline. So I think we can only benefit from these types of events, grow the conferencing facilities that are here and see that become a really important sector for the city.
We also caught up with sailing legend Sir Robin Knox-Johnston to ask him how Clipper had been received by the city.
Quite honestly, we've had fantastic support, not just from the City of Hull, but from Yorkshire Forward, and that's extended into people in business as well here. There's an enormous enthusiasm. You know, Hull in some ways is a village, and you get that village atmosphere up here. And I just say to people, come here and see it for yourself, and you realise this is a great place to bring anything.
Another passionate advocate of Hull is property expert and TV presenter Sarah Beanie. She lives just outside the city and finds there are plenty of cultural and leisure locations for her and her family.
There's lots to do. There's the beaches, which is great, and all sorts of different beaches around. The Deep is a fantastic place to go. It's funny actually, because in London there's the London Aquarium, which was built, and there's the Deep, and we've been to both a number of times. And I'd sort of say the Deep wins actually, and I think that's quite impressive really. There's actually quite a lot of places to go with kids to enjoy the local area. The people are so nice up here, and funnily enough, I think it's kind of quite a well-kept secret. I often say to people, don't ever tell anyone how nice everyone is, because everyone will come and try and live here, but they're great people up here. I think that's the most remarkable thing about it.
A significant contributor to the cultural side of the city is Hull Truck Theatre. They've been producing highly regarded, award-winning productions since the early 70s and recently moved to a brand new state-of-the-art theatre in the city centre. We've invited Hull Truck's operations director Paul Marshall to join me at the Boar's Nest restaurant on Hull's Princess Avenue for a spot of lunch. So you've been in the building just over a year. How's it going?
We've had a fantastic first year. I mean, no one would have chosen to open a new business in the economic climate that we had. And we had no choice. The building was done, it was ready, we moved in, we got it ready for opening, and we opened on the 23rd of April last year. The response we've had to it has just been phenomenal. I mean, we've sold 100,000 tickets in that first year. I mean, that's more than we would have anticipated. Fantastic. 101 conferences, corporate events, 293 performances. It's just gone down a storm with everyone who's been there.
If you look at some of the events of 2009, the Freedom Festival and of course the start of Clipper, how important do you think it is to have those sort of major cultural events in the city?
I mean, I've lived in London, I've lived in Brighton, you know, I've been in the South Coast, it's been my home. It really isn't much different. It has so much to offer. You just got to sometimes go out and find those things, and then you've got to try and draw them together, and that's what does happen. I think perhaps we don't make enough song and dance about it. To be perfectly honest, I think we sometimes think, oh, being modest, we perhaps shouldn't say, or we shouldn't shout. Well, actually, why not? I really think there is a lot to shout about, and you've got to do it. I think the media far too often has focused in just on the bad, and fine, it's easy to do. If you want to undermine anywhere, you can do that. The job of the people, and certainly I see that as my job as an advocate for the city now, is to say, hang on, you know, fine, we accept that, but look how far we've come here, look what we've done there, look what we're trying to do here. You know, the regeneration programme in Hull is just far and away above anything else. I mean, as I say, we'll take Brighton for example, faded grandeur. There's nothing like the same sort of level of investment or movement forward, regeneration. And Hull's got that. Have you seen around the area what there is to go and see and do and be? I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, I love this area. I mean, I'm used to water, being Brighton, I mean, I'm used to the sea. I mean, I've just got the Humber here. I'm used to greenery and South Downs, well, the Wolds, whichever. I mean, it's all a balance for me. There's urban, there's rural, it's there. I mean, you couldn't really want much more of a balance.
What sort of reputation do you think Hull has as a city for its entire sort of culture and leisure industry?
You'd hope there'd be a symbiotic relationship between the two. I mean, the more you can generate in terms of wealth, income, leisure time, then hopefully people will spend it in cultural pursuits. I mean, one of the goals that we have, and I know the city does as well, is participation in the arts and getting people involved in whatever, doesn't matter what aspect. There are so many strands. It's just getting that involvement. And you can't do that until people feel comfortable and confident in themselves and their lives that they can invest time, energy, money in these other things. So yes, the two things have to spring off each other.
Well, my thanks to Paul for joining me and to you for watching. There'll be another episode of Forward TV on the site very soon. I do hope you'll join me again.